Hey guys, good morning. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It is great to be with you on this wonderful Sunday, February 23rd, 2025. Welcome to Inspirations for Your Life. We have a great master topic that started yesterday, inspiring journeys of growth and renewal. We're on series four, by the way, everyone. This is show number 9 that we're in. Wow, can't believe that already. So welcome. If you haven't had a chance to get breakfast or get yourself something to eat, maybe something hot, something cold, something sweet, something tart, or not, go ahead and do that and hurry on back. And welcome to Inspirations for Your Life podcast. Transformation isn't just about change. It's about evolution, growth, and stepping into the best version of yourself. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It is great to be with you guys. Absolutely here on Inspirations for Your Life. Do check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. Whether in business, leadership, or personal development, embracing transformation is the key to unlocking new possibilities. In today's episode, I'm going to explore the power of transformation and covering the essential elements that drive lasting change. If you're ready to shift your mindset, overcome obstacles, and take action, this episode is exactly for you. Get ready to be inspired and empowered as we dive into the journey of transformation together. We started this off yesterday with a very interesting story. You're definitely going to want to go back and watch that at believemeachieve.com, where we talked about a very unselfish ball player in the football realm that decided to actually not sign just so the scouts could come and actually see the rest of the team play. And he stuck to his word and accepted the scholarship at the end of the following year. All right. So number one is defining transformation. Transformation is more than just change. It's a profound shift that alters the way we think, act, and grow. It's about breaking free from old patterns and stepping into a new version of ourselves, whether in business, as I said, leadership, or personal life. Understanding transformation starts with recognizing that growth is a continuous process, not a one-time event. I know a lot of people say, oh, gee, I've done this today and I'm good and I'm done. No, you're not done. You're just beginning. All right. So that's important. Of course, we'll get deep with the stories later on. Number two, key triggers for change. What sparks transformation? It could be a life-changing event, a moment of clarity, or even a challenge that forces you to step up. Identifying these triggers helps you harness them as catalysts for growth rather than obstacles. Change begins when discomfort meets determination. Let me say that again. Change begins when discomfort meets determination. Change begins when discomfort meets determination. So, what's pushing you to evolve? Mindset shifts. Number three, the powerful transformation starts in the mind. To truly evolve, you must shift limiting beliefs, embracing new perspectives, and adopt a growth mindset. Instead of seeking challenges as roadblocks, view them as stepping stones toward success. Your mindset determines your trajectory, so make sure it's set for greatness. Okay, so basically, trajectory, your path, your exact path. When they talk about a bullet, or when they talk about let's say getting rid of something, they have a trajectory, right? A trajectory point. But in case you were wondering, according to my good friends at Merriam-Webster, what does trajectory mean? Well, it's the curved path an object takes through space or air. And it has to be very precise or it won't get to where it needs to be. Number four, overcoming resistance. Resistance is a natural part of transformation, but it doesn't have to hold you back. Fear, doubt, and comfort zones can all stand in the way of progress. The key is recognize these barriers and pushing them with persistence and courage. The best way to overcome resistance is, you got it, take action before you feel ready. I know sometimes you might say, gee, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to step up to the plate. I'm not ready to pitch the ball. I'm not ready to get in the game, coach. Well, when are you ever going to be ready? So why not just jump in the water? All right. We're always trying to, ease ourselves in the water because we want it to be nice and warm. And of course, that's nice, but sometimes we just have to jump in. All right. So you can overcome resistance, and it's one thing you need to do in life to be successful of the many. Number five, real life examples. Some of the greatest success stories come from individuals who embraced transformation against all odds, from entrepreneurs who pivoted their businesses to individuals who reinvented their lives. Real world examples prove the transformation is possible for anyone willing to put in the effort who inspires you to transform. So, I'm not going to say that transforming is going to be easy because it's not. All right. But there are a lot of rewards when you decide to transform. I mean, really, there are, ladies and gentlemen. It's just something you have to understand. How many times do I come out here and get in front of the camera? All the time, right? And even with things going on with college, I still make time to do this. So I've changed the time when I do it. Like later on, I have studying. So I'm doing my shows now. And if I can't make something later, what do? I record the show, right? So we can always make excuses, but we need to be committed to our passions. When we truly are committed to our passions, guess what? Life becomes magical. Um, I'm going to call it serendipitous moments happen more frequently than we would expect. The role of persistence. Okay. As I said to you, it isn't always easy. It requires resilience, commitment, and a willingness to keep going despite the setbacks you might have or the cards you're dealt. Success doesn't happen overnight, and persistence isn't what separates those who succeed. There's more, okay? You have to realize persistence is part of it, but it also takes that creative flair, that understanding that we have to pivot and not do the same thing over and over again. As Einstein said, when we do the same thing over and over again, what are we doing? We're enacting out insanity. So if we do the same thing over and over again and we expect different results, that's insanity. So definitely make sure you change so that you can get different results. All right, number 7, tools and strategies. Transformation isn't just about mindset. It's also about the required practical tools and strategies that you apply. From goals, aspirations, promises, and techniques to daily habits that reinforce growth, having a roadmap makes the journey smoother. Journaling, visualization, and mentorship are just a few of the many powerful tools you can use to accelerate your transformation. Are you ready to get to the next level? Or are you just looking to make excuses because, hey, that's a lot easier and, it's a lot more comfortable to make excuses like, oh, I couldn't do that because I had this, or I wasn't able to do that because the store was closed, or it's too late at night, or it's this, or it's that. You know, you got to get things done and you got to make the decision to do it. All right. Just because it's late or because, you're going to miss a party or because you're going to have to work doing something twice, you got to do it. All right. You got to do it. No one is going to make you do it. You've got to do it. You got to be the success. Number 8, measuring progress. How do you know if you're transforming your life? Tracking progress is essential for staying motivated and ensuring you're on the right path, whether through self-reflection, feedback, or measurable aspirations or goals. Celebrating small wins along the way keeps you focused and driven. Progress is progress, right? No matter how small. But remember, sometimes you have to change that progress. You have to change the trajectory. You have to change the path, the curve. You have to change the parameters to what you're doing so that it can be tweaked, right? How many times have you had to do some sports like, okay, you gotta move your arm a little bit this way. You've got to open the door a little more on the club, like on a golf club. You got to open the door a little more so that when you hit the ball, it goes straight. It doesn't go off to the left, right? Or off to the right. So by making tweaks, we're able to then say, look, we should get different results. If we did the same golf swing, if we did the same pitch, exactly the same way every time, and we didn't change one thing, and we expected results, we would be insane, just like Einstein said. So don't do the same thing over and over again, expecting results because, you're not insane. You've got to make a change. Number 9, long-term impact. True transformation isn't just about short-term success. It's about creating lasting change, whether in your career, your relationship, or personal growth. The impact of transformation extends far beyond the present moment. All right. I think that's important for a lot of people to know. And maybe some people get stuck because they're like, well, gee, John, what is the long term success? Well, so true transformation isn't just about short term success, it's about creating that lasting change, whether you're in your career, relationship, or personal growth. The impact of transformation extends far beyond the present moment. The key is consistency, continuous learning, and embracing the journey rather than the destination, and tweaking the process. There are many books that leave this step out, which is you've got to tweak. If you don't tweak, then you're not going to make the grade. You're not going to make the team. You're not going to win because you're doing things the same way over and over and over again, right? How many of you out there have ever baked cookies before? I love to bake cookies and I love to do culinary desserts. What happens if you bake the cookies wrong, right? Like if you don't put in the right ingredients, right? What happens? Well, the cookie could be flat. The cookie could be burnt. The cookie might not rise enough, right? For if you get the baking powder, like in the peanut butter cookies, right? So I think it's important to understand that there's always trial and error, but we want to do it methodically. We want to do it in such a way that we're learning from where we are. Too many people are in a rush to just do everything one way. And then guess what happens? Well, they don't get to where they want to be. And that's sad because they actually have the ability to get there. They have the ability to get there. That's pretty powerful if you ask me. It's extremely, extremely powerful. All right. So as you know, the way I do these all the time, I've gone through the major points. Now, what I want to do is I want to go back and I want to tell some stories about this. So, one of my favorite transformation stories. There are a lot, and so you know you can think about the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? The Wizard of Oz or the War of Art. So the way a character changes from being nice to being like totally a monster is a type of transformation, right? The Wizard of Oz, a story about a hero who experiences a crisis and feels hopeless. It's a Wonderful Life, a story about a hero who experiences a crisis and feels hopeless. So some people have shared their own stories of transformation, including moving away from home and friends after losing a job. Others have shared how taking a course helped them feel good about themselves. Theatrical performances is a great way to transform, but there's so many ways you can transform in your life. So this whole week, we're talking about transforming. We're talking about these stories that are going to basically set you free. How about Groundhog Day, right? That's a real big one. Um, a story in which a character physically or mentally becomes something different and changes to that is detailed within many stories. So I think sometimes we don't necessarily do the transformation because we are scared. Okay. There are so many great stories out there. There is a good one from darkness to light. I mean, there's so many out there. The point is that when somebody starts off in one point, in one place, and then they evolve. Let's see if I can give you an example. All right. So, many years ago, I had decided that I wanted to pursue something. I'll tell you what that is in a minute, but I wasn't sure how I was going to pursue it. All I knew is that I wanted to pursue it. I loved engineering, but I wasn't really sure how to pursue it. But things just sort of fell in the right place. And when your curiosity gets the best of you in a good way, it makes us want to ask the questions about what would it look like if, or what would it look like when? I like to say when instead of if. What will it look like after? What will it look like during? Right? And so when you start asking these questions, you can do this with abundance, you can do so many things. So what will it feel like when? And so when we're able to put ourselves into the future as if it's now, that is so killer when it comes to getting us to stay motivated. And I know that sounds crazy for a lot of people, but the truth of the matter is, it's something that I think you will really, really appreciate. And when I say appreciate, I mean it's something that you're going to really enjoy. All right. I know you might be saying to me, hey, John, this sounds great. You make it sound great. Yes, I do. But it's not just about hearing what I have to say, right? It's about actually doing this. And you might be saying, well, John, it's easy for you. Yeah, it is easy for me, but it wasn't always easy for me. All right. It was not always easy for me. And so, how do you transform from point A to point B? I mean, how do you do it? I think it can be a little bit challenging for a lot of people because they don't know like what to expect or how or even why to expect. So I think that's a big problem for a lot of people. But how do you actually transform from one way to another way? I mean, how do you literally do that? Um, I think it has to be something that you want in your life, okay? And if it's something you want, then and only then can it be something that you actually achieve. Now, I know that sounds like really, really crazy, but it's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. And again, this stuff is not something you're going to learn in 5 minutes. This is stuff that needs to, I like to call it marinate, like a good steak or a good rub for ribs. That's not saying you can't do it. It's just saying there's gonna be some things that are gonna get upset. And I know a lot of you say, "Well, gee, John, I really don't want to be uncomfortable." Well, wake up call, everyone. You gotta practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable. What did I say? You have to practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable. If you can do that, you could turn the whole world upside down. All right, so now we know a little more about that, and we know a little more about what a transformation is, right? It's taking us from a point A to like a point Z, something totally different, or like a day from night or night from day. So, what are triggers? So, triggers are things that are going to spark the transformation. Maybe, for example, like many of you guys know, I was 250 pounds and I went down to like 165, and I'm still on a crusade to get down a little more. No one told me to lose weight. There was a trigger. The one trigger was every time I got in the car, my iPhone was always in the way or just kind of always, getting in place of the seat or the side. It was just very uncomfortable. The other thing I noticed is that every time I went up and downstairs, it was like I was out of breath. And I didn't even have anything in my hand. And I said, gee, this isn't a good thing to be out of breath so young. And so I recognized that I want to stay healthy. And so what else have I done to stay healthy? Well, I just adapted to do my 75 squats every 2 days. Now, when I started that was not very comfortable, okay? I first went like a madman and did like I think I started doing like 30 a day. I did 10, 10, 10, and within the day or two, it's like, whoa, it like stuck right up on my first. I wasn't doing it the right form because I was getting it from my upper back all the way down. But then I realized, okay, now that I know how to do it correctly, I'm only getting the pain for lower back down. So whenever I got up, I felt it. But you know what happened after 2 weeks of doing that pattern of every 2 days? I was able to barely notice it. And so when that happens, it's like your body now adjusts. And so when you want to change a habit, it's gonna be uncomfortable, right? How many of you ever gotten a scab before, right? The scab's uncomfortable, right? But what happens after the bruise goes away? Hopefully, there's minimal scarring, and then it heals. But for some reason, we put so much onus on the fact that, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? Right? What am I going to do? Right? And I've said this before. Um, Tough times never last. Tough people always will. Let me say that again. Tough times never last. Tough people always will. Tough times never last, tough people always will. So, a powerful transformation starts in the mind. To truly evolve, you must shift limiting beliefs, embrace new perspectives, okay, and adopt a growth mindset instead of seeing challenges as roadblocks. But many people don't understand what that shift means. It means that you got to take the uncomfortable, you got to live with it, and you've got to make that uncomfortable be part of you until you're comfortable with it. Resistance. Just like a rubber band. I don't know if I have a rubber band on me. I might. I do. So just like a rubber band has resistance, I don't know if you guys can see it, but if you can hear it, you can hear that snap, right? And so a rubber band has resistance, right? We have resistance in our life to certain things. And so we have to stretch that band. We can't stretch it too fast or it could pop, right? So we got to like stretch it very easily so we can get it to where we want it to be. Same thing happens with like clay and many other things. We have to slowly move toward that. We don't want to do it all at once, right? There are many crafts that if you do them all at once, you'll break it, like in glass blowing, right? You have to do it slowly, very methodically, right? And the wood or the metal, whatever you're working with, has to give a little bit. Same thing with leather and many other projects. So we think about real life examples of transformation. One was the fact that I lost all that weight, which I feel great about. Another transformation I had was the first time I ever ran for, it was a class representative. Then I went on to run for president in college. So it's not comfortable. All right. You're like, well, what happens if I lose? What happens if I win? And so I remember in high school, it was like a popularity contest, but I didn't do it for popularity. I did it because I wanted to make effective changes in the cafeteria to put better food in there. And I did. But sometimes people do things for the wrong reasons. It happens, ladies and gentlemen. It absolutely happens. So I'm here to tell you that you can make changes in your life. All right. You have to embrace that long term impact that it's going to have. All right. And so when you think about a transformation, right, you don't go like saying, oh my gosh, how am I going to transform? You're just thinking about where you are today and the fact that you want to be somewhere else. When you get there, that's a transformation. That's a transformational journey, right? You can have transformation with weight. You can have transformation with your skin. You can have transformation with your health. You can have transformation in relationships. You can have transformation if you were a bad driver. You can have transformation in your education. Everything can evolve. And when we start to understand that our choices help us to evolve, to go from day and night or night and day. Again, it is not the most comfortable thing. And many people, even your friends, may not want to hang around you while you're going through this transformation because they don't know if they can handle it. So it's the greatest thing when you have an accountability partner because you can keep each other accountable. And so when I talked about persistence, I meant persistence, but you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. You have to get really grounded in the fact that nothing's ever going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, unless you make tweaks, you make changes. That's really important. Let's talk about the story from Karate Kid, right? You remember wax on, wax off? That was a transformation. He couldn't do karate for anything, but he made a transformation. He had a journey. He didn't learn it overnight. It was a journey. Karate is a journey. Education is a journey. Relationships are a journey. Financial abundance can be a journey getting there. So many things are journeys in life. And when we understand that our journey allows us to employ transformation, it could be in your spiritual life, okay? Maybe you had somebody that had a very bad health issue. Maybe you had a bad divorce. Maybe it just didn't work out well, the relationship. Um, Maybe your life has been hard for you because you haven't been able to find your purpose. And you're in this crisis state. Maybe you got hooked up with the wrong, I'll call them friends, but people, and they did things that weren't the greatest and things that might have affected your health and other things, right? So when we embrace this fact that a journey allows us to transform, but if we keep doing the same thing over again, we hang out with the same friends and they keep acting the same way, well, then we're never going to change. We're going to get worse. If we want to get better in our studies, what do we have to do? We have to study. But it's not just studying smarter, we learned from a few weeks ago. It's studying smarter. You know, everyone in life wants change to happen in 24 hours. I'm sorry, change does not happen in 24 hours. It can happen quickly, maybe not 24 hours. It takes a little time. Because the hardest part is not the change, it's your belief in that you can change. Does that mean I can't change in 24 hours? No. But if you're just doing it the first time, it's unlikely you're going to change in 24 hours. Now, the second time, third time, fourth, maybe you will change in 24 hours. But the first time, you're still learning the process. You're still coming to terms with who you are or what you are at the moment or what you're trying to do and how you're trying to transform. Something as simple as riding a bicycle. I'm sure you all remember riding a bicycle, and you guys can go back to my story about how I rode a bicycle. And those were challenges, right? But there was a transformation from when I started on the Hot Wheels, okay, which had 3 wheels. And then I had the training wheels on the bike. And then my dad took the training wheels off. And it was not comfortable falling off that bike. But I kept getting back up on the bike. Why? Was it me? Well, I didn't have that resilience back then. It was my parents that kept instilling that in me. And from lessons like that and other lessons in life, you have to realize that you might not get the goal right away. You might not get the ball in the net or, in the hoop or whatever it is. You've got to realize that it's not how many times you fall, my friends. It's how many times you keep getting back up. You fall 10 times, as long as you get back up 10 times, you're fine. Each time you fall and you change a little bit, guess what's going to happen? It's going to make you a better version of yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always such a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you guys in these amazing days and evenings. Please do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com. I'll catch you guys real soon. And remember, transformation can happen only